Thank you, Mr. Trump. I'm Roberto Salinas. I'm actually from Mexico. I'm incredibly insulted by the remarks.
I was waiting for this.
Of course you were.
Good.
But, hey, I'm a friend of FreedomFest.
Good.
I believe in freedom. I believe in the rule of law.
Good.
I believe in property rights. My heart goes out to Mr. Jamil.
Good.
There are illegal immigrants that are horrible and terrible. There are also legal immigrants that are horrible and terrible.
It's true.
So it's a question about rule of law. I am going to ask a question.
Ask a question, please.
My question is,
Did the government of Mexico ask you to come up here and make
of
this?
course.
Okay, go ahead, ask your question. Ask your
I knew
question.
you were going to say that.
Come on, you got a lot of people waiting.
Would you build walls around all the states in the United States to prevent all of those rapists and killers that come from elsewhere in the United States in order to avoid the problem?
No, I'd build a wall. I would build a wall between our country and Mexico because people come from all over the world.
Senor Trump,
let me just tell you, sir, do you want to hear the answer? And all of the people, because I encourage legal citizenship. I encourage it, and I would encourage it, and I would encourage Hispanics, and I would encourage people from all over. But what I don't encourage is people coming into our country illegally, and I don't encourage where a government forces some people in that the government doesn't want, and these people reap havoc on our population. Thank you very much for your question. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Should read the Statue of Liberty.
Next, please.
Hello. Hello, Mr. Trump. My name is Lloyd Brunson. I'm over here on your right.
Oh.
You've inspired me to create a TV show that'll be broadcast on Fox affiliate in Utah called American Statesman. Well, that's actually what would you do if you were president. So it might be something you'll buy from me after you get out of office.
Sounds good to me.
But the question is, Mr. Ron Paul, when he was running for president, there was a lot of confusion about the Federal Reserve. He said stuff that sounded crazy, like 1.6 trillion of the debt was fictitious. And I saw him on Fox News talking about that. And Lori Rothman, an analyst, said, oh, that's not fictitious. That belongs to the financial markets. And that seemed to prove his point. So could you address that issue a little bit and see if you could...
Well, that's a good point. We have a tremendous problem. We owe $18 trillion. China, think of China. They do all this business, and now we owe them money. How about Japan? Japan is our second largest creditor, $1.4 trillion. We do all of this business. They sell us all of these cars. We owe them money. How does this happen? How does it happen? We have got to get the debt down. We're going to be Greece pretty soon. We're going to be a Greece on steroids. We're going to be up to $24 trillion very soon. That's a big number. That's a sacred number. That's magic.
Can you do what JFK and President Abraham Lincoln did, and that's take the power to create money back to the government, and that would eliminate taxation.
Well, you have to you have to bring everything back. But you know what? I believe in free trade. I do. I have a big free trade. But here's the thing with free trade. You have to have smart negotiators. I know the greatest negotiators. I know people that are so nasty, so horrible. They're horrible human beings. You'd hate them, but they're great at what they do. I know people you would not want to have dinner with them. They're horrible people, but they're great at what they do. I put one in charge of Japan. I wouldn't have Carolyn Kennedy negotiating for us. How did you get the job? Well, I asked the government, and what did they say? How would you like to be ambassador to Japan? And now I see Abe, who's a killer, the head of Japan, whining and dining her. We're getting killed everywhere. We would have the greatest negotiators. I know most of them. I know the good ones, the bad ones. I know the ones that are overrated. I know the ones you never heard about that are better than any of them. We would have the greatest, smartest deals you've ever seen. We would bring our deals back. We would bring our manufacturing back. We would bring our money back. Believe me. Great. And we have to do that. Okay, next question. Yes, sir.
Mr.
Hi.
Trump, I'm from Arizona. We know what you're talking about. Thank you for the message.
Thank you.
I want to give my blessings to the Shaw family. Everybody give a blessing to the Shaw family. My question has to do with the problem that you've talked about. There's one even bigger that's going on in the Middle East now. No one's talking about it. The persecution of Christians and
it's unbelievable.
And also the homosexual population is being persecuted, and no one is doing anything to stop it. I have people that are in military retired that will go there and fight ISIS and do things. We need the money and we need the food to support them. We need the supplies. Can you do anything to help and bring that issue to the table?
Okay. I heard something the other day that's hard to believe. It's hard to believe, but I believe it. If you're from Syria and you're a Christian, you cannot come into this country. And they're the ones that are being just that. If you're Islamic and you come in, hard to believe, you can come in so easily. In fact, it's one of our main groups of people that are coming in. Now, not that we should discriminate against one or the other, but if you're Christian, you cannot get into the country. You cannot get into the country. I thought that was unbelievable. We have to do something about it. You know, a lot of people don't know I'm Protestant. Nobody believes it. I'm Presbyterian. Can you believe this? Presbyterian. We have to protect our people. They're being beheaded, and they can't come in. But other people that aren't being persecuted, certainly not to the extent, they can come in from the same country. Oh, I could talk about Syria all day long. Just Syria. You know, we have Assad who's supposed to be our enemy, and yet we're fighting ISIS. Well, if ISIS is fighting Assad, why aren't we letting them battle it out and we'll take over the leftovers? No, why are we doing this? Why are we in Syria? You know, the war in Iraq in 2004, Reuters, July of 2004, I said, don't, and I believe strongly in a very powerful military, because if you have a really powerful military, you'll never have to use it. Nobody's going to mess with us. Okay, nobody's going to mess with us. But just if you look at what's happening with where we are in terms of all of the things that you just mentioned, why are we doing these things? When Reuters did the article, Trump was totally against going into Iraq. I said, you will decapitate one country. You know, for years, you had Iran and Iraq. They go wing, wing, wong, wong, boom. They go 10 feet here, 10 foot there. And then they'd rest for 5 years. Then they go back and they'd fight. They were the same. I said, if you do this, you're going to ruin the balance. You'll knock out the balance. And Iran will take over Iraq. And somebody even worse than Saddam Hussein will take over the leftovers, ISIS, which Obama always calls ISIL. Do you ever notice it? I mean, I understand the reason why, but why? Everybody says ISIS. He has to say ISIL. He is such a divisive person. Such a divisive person. But I said, don't do this. And people from the Bush administration came to see me because it got a lot of publicity. And they didn't want that publicity. They made a mistake. We spent $2 trillion, thousands of lives, wounded warriors all over the place who I love. These are great people, not being properly taken care of, by the way. And we have nothing. And Iraq, and there is no Iraq, let's face it. Iraq is just a name. But Iraq is now meeting with Iran about a takeover. And ISIS is building hotels in Iraq. You believe it? They're building a hotel because they have so much money, because they've taken over so much oil. We're so stupid. We are led by stupid people. And I'm very proud of the fact that I was opposed, and I'm a very military-oriented person, believe me. But I'm very proud of the fact that article came up, somebody wrote a beautiful story about it. Because all these Republican guys, and Hillary voted for it, who would be one hell of a bad president. By the way, she was the worst Secretary of State in the history of the country. The worst. And now she's going to be president. And Bush is so bad. Can you imagine Bush negotiating with China? Who would you rather have? Trump negotiating with China or Bush negotiating with China? I tell you, I'll give you the answer to that one. That's an easy. So anyway, we have to have a very strong military. We have to protect our people. And we have to have it so we don't even use it, because I don't want to use it, but we have to have it. Because if we have it, it won't have to be used. Okay, let's go.
Sorry?
Yes, ma'am.
From Russia. So my question...
Putin. Good friend of Obama, Putin.
He
likes Obama a lot. Go ahead.
My question will be about foreign politics.
Okay.
If you would be elected as a president, what will be your foreign politics, especially in the relationships with my country? And do you want to continue the politics of sanctions that are damaging of both economy, or you have any other ideas?
Okay. Obama gets along with nobody. The whole world hates us. You know, it's an amazing thing. You look at Mexico. They hate us. They hate our leadership. And yet, they're making a fortune. China hates us. China is building ports in the South China Sea. We could never do a thing like that because we'd have to get environmental impact statements. Okay, so we don't. I jokingly said to a friend, do you think they got an environmental impact statement when they did it? So China hates us, and yet they're making it. Everybody hates us, and yet they make money with us. With me, we're going to make money on them, and they're going to like us. I know Putin, and I'll tell you what, we'd get along with Putin. Putin has no respect for President Obama. Big problem. Big problem. And Russia has been driven. You know, I've always heard, for years I've heard, one of the worst things that can happen to our country is if Russia ever gets driven to China. We have driven them together with the big oil deals that are being made. We've driven them together. That's a horrible thing for this country. We have made them friends because of incompetent leadership. I believe I would get along very nicely with Putin, okay? And I mean where we have the strength. I don't think you'd need the sanctions. I think that we would get along very, very well. I really believe that. I think that we would get along with a lot of countries that we don't get along with today, and we'll be a lot richer for it than we are today. We can make our country great again and get along with people. And everyone says, oh, is Trump divisive? Somebody said, maybe you don't have the personality, Mr. Trump, because you're not a nice person. You know, they used to see me fire people on The Apprentice. I'm not a nice person. I think I am. I get along great with people. I give a lot of money to people and charities and everything. I love people. I think I'm a nice person. I want to be a nice person. I am a nice person. But then I said to the person, I don't think it matters if I'm nice. Because people are tired. They're just tired of incompetent leadership. I think what people want... I think what people want today is competence. We're done with the nice stuff. I think Jeb Bush is nice. I think he's a nice person. He's not going to take us to the promised land, folks. He doesn't have it. He's not. Hillary is a nice person, sort of. Well, she's a little rougher on the edges. Actually, I think he's probably nicer than her. But she's not going to get us there. She's not going to bring back trade. She's not going to bring back jobs. She's not going to be able to negotiate with these killers from other countries. And they're all controlled by the lobbyists. So Jeb Bush raises over $100 million. Every single person, and Hillary 40, every single person that gave them money is going to get something out of that government. Every single person. Who knows better than me? Okay? Who knows better than me? Every single person who gave Jeb Bush and Hillary all of that money has something lined up. And it's not necessarily, and probably not at all, to the benefit of our country and you. It's to their benefit. Special interests, lobbyists, all of these people, donors, they all get something. Here's the story with me. I don't want any money. I don't need Phil Ruffin's money. He's got a fortune. Rich guy. I don't need his money. If he gives me some, I'll probably take it, but there won't be any deals. But I don't need money. I don't want anybody's money. And when they come to me because I made a deal that's really good for the country but really bad for some special interests, and they hit me and they say, but you can't do that. I don't owe you anything. But when they go to Jeb Bush, they're going to say, I raised $2 billion from this guy, and now you're hurting him. Oh, okay, we'll turn it around. That's what happens. That's the way our country works. And that's not a good thing, folks. That's not a good thing. Okay. I want to just thank everybody. This has been a lot of fun. You are an amazing audience and a great group of people. And I love Las Vegas because I have a very successful building right down the road. I'm just angry that this conference, I assumed it would be in my building and it wasn't, okay? In fact, I was almost persuaded not to do it. But it's a great honor to be with you. You're a fantastic crowd. And again, I always finish by saying, make America great again. We can do it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I'm going to go.
Thank you.
Sure, sir.